Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Cool Down. You know, can I just say something? If Selo was here, he would definitely try and say that better than I just did. But just welcoming to the show, guys. We've got Darren Smalley and Wonga Denga and Darren Smalley have switched spots. Okay, no, they're in the right order now. We've got Wonga Denga and Darren Smalley in the house today. Gentlemen, how was the weekend?
Poor. And mine was on a Friday even. Mine started on a Friday. On a Friday, 5 minutes of the game into the weekend. What a weekend for Wonga. I couldn't watch another match. It was horrible.
Leno made a shocker of an error there in the end.
Yeah, it was horrible. And, geez, it was... Yeah, I didn't watch another game because of that, genuine.
Oh.
Everything else was a highlight. I just was frustrated the whole weekend. That was me.
To be fair, I probably would have been the same if Leeds were on Friday and we had to lose, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we drew against Newcastle right at the end of the game, and I couldn't watch anything else for that. That was my weekend done too. So yeah, so your weekend ended on Friday. Mine was early Saturday. Yours wasn't too bad on Sunday, Darren. Eh?
Yeah, look, obviously, I mean, it would have been great to beat United. They are main rivals in the Premier League, at least. I know we haven't faced them properly for 16 years before the Old Trafford game in December, but as a rival, they are our main rival, so it would have been great to beat them. But I think on the whole, I mean, I watched the whole game, obviously, and I thought United probably had the better of the chances, but I mean, we could have also come away with it in the end.
Wait, Darren, are we just diving right in here? We're just going to talk about the United Leeds game because I'm confused here. You know, we got to save the juicy bit. We can't just go gung ho right from the beginning. You know, you always have the starter, then we have the main course, and then the dessert. Right. So today,
I just thought I'd give a bit of an intro. Give a bit of intro to the game, to be honest. The best result out of us three. To be fair.
All right. No, fair enough. Darren is giving the start to people. I'll let you finish with your starter there, Darren.
No. That was basically wrapping it up, to be honest. It was just saying I felt like probably a fair result in the end, but I'll dive into it a bit later when we get into the juicy details of it, I guess.
Right, guys. So talking about the start as the main course and obviously dessert, what we're going to do is we're going to start off with the results. We're going to talk about the Carabao Cup. We're going to talk about the Premier League results in depth in terms of our games. And then we're going to end off with one or two things regarding a certain Premier League Hall of Fame and pretty much who we think is going to be in that top 10. That's pretty much what we're angling for. So talking about the results, we're just going to start off and kick it right off the bat with the Carabao Cup final. Obviously, the biggest upset in football history. Am I right? Man City winning the Carabao yet again.
Yeah. I thought, I mean, it would have been, for Tottenham, I think would have been a nice thing for them, but I don't think anyone really was expecting it. Everyone was saying, I mean, Mourinho leaving just before the final was you literally putting Man City's name on the title. And to be honest, I didn't watch the game. Like I said, my weekend was horrible. I genuinely didn't watch any soccer after that. I was really frustrated. But again, Man City picking up, not surprised. But I could see, and I mean, I saw Son. I mean, I just thought about it. I mean, Son, he was probably the headline of him crying, losing the cup. And you think about him like, geez, a player of that caliber, Son, and he's not winning any cups for how many years now? And he's been at Tottenham. You know, he's left Leverkusen, and he's an exceptional player. I mean, he's playing for any other team, and he's definitely winning a trophy, and he can play for any other better team. That's the truth about it. So Tottenham will have a tough time come this next transfer window, which I'm happy about.
Of course you're happy about it, but I mean that's exactly. You know, I was looking at the stats of them saying now Pep Guardiola has joined the all-time list of the most winners or most wins of the Carabao Cup. There we go, Celo. I said it again, Carabao. It's how you say it in Portuguese. Anyway, not Carabao. There's meant to be an accent on the A. But anyway, so now he's joint leader with Sir Alex Ferguson and Mourinho. So they've each got 4 now, and there's another manager. I think it's Clough. I'm not entirely sure. But I was just thinking, as a neutral, how does Daniel Levy sack a man 6 days before the final, where he could arguably become the greatest manager of all time with regards to this particular cup. He would have gone 5 ahead, and they brought him in to win silverware, and they sack him. It was one of those at the end of the day where Spurs were absolutely useless. They were nowhere to be found. Apparently, there's a stat that came out from Monday Night Football that they played more long balls than the average teams in the Premier League who are fighting relegation in the final. It's also now, I think it's 4 consecutive finals that Spurs have played that they just haven't scored in the final. So it's one of those where you're just like, what were you thinking, Daniel Levy? I don't know what your thoughts were there, Darren.
Yeah, so I've got 2 theories on this one. I think for Daniel Levy, there was a method to his madness in sacking him, because if he did go and win the Carabao Cup, I think it would have been harder for them to sack him come the end of the season, because then he would have had some backing in terms of saying, well, I won you a trophy, and it's when last did you guys win a trophy type of thing. And I think from what I've read, there's the changing room has got a very toxic environment. There's a couple of, not players directly, but sources have come out. I think I read it a couple of days on Sky Sports, saying that there's a few players that have come out and said that the changing room was toxic and that it needed to change it ASAP, basically. So that's my 2 theories, but I think they needed to get rid of him before he got to play the final, so that he didn't have a leg to stand on come into the season. It's all like, guys, I won you a trophy. So yeah, I think that's what I've read and what I've heard, but we'll never know. I mean, we're not part of the club, I suppose. So.
Well, we got a voice note. We got a voice note from one of our viewers in Scotland there, Scotty. And apparently it was a voice note doing the rounds from Jamie Redknapp. And one of the alleged reasons for sacking Mourinho was the fact that the fact that he did it now, that they were 7th in the league, meant they'd have to pay him out less money. So if they sacked him when he was 4th or 5th, then obviously the payout would have been bigger. So that was one of the decisions they made, regardless of the timing of the cup, which is, like you said, maybe there was an extra clause. Had he won the cup, they would have paid more, even though they knew they were sacking him. But then again, at what cost? Your club hasn't won a trophy for 13 years, and this is the result. You fire the guy, which is bizarre. But 2 things I want to ask you guys now is that you mentioned Son, Wonga Denga, and that's a valid point. Everyone's been talking about Harry Kane leaving the club. What about the likes of Son now? Yeah. I mean, surely both those players are going, we out of here. And the question is, there are going to be plenty of suitors for Son. You can see him playing anywhere in the Premier League or anywhere in the world, really.
And, you looked at, never mind players going out, there was, and there's still probably is talk about, Eriksen not being happy at Inter. And there were talks about him coming back. Now he's probably thinking, whoa, how sad am I at Inter, because now these guys don't even know their manager. It's madness there, So, but I mean, but looking at Son, like I just said it before, I can't see how. I mean, you can see he's a nice guy. He's the kind of person who's going to be. He would do something. I mean, just out of love, for the club. But a player like that not winning any trophies for me, I can't understand it.
You can see it
surely.
If Kane leaves. Yeah, if Kane leaves, I think, and he stays, I'm sure he'll be club captain now, I reckon.
But would he want to stay? If Kane's leaving, if I was him, I would be wanting to duck as well. I'd be like, well, I'm definitely not going to win anything, even with Kane. And now Kane's gone. What am I doing here? What am I really doing?
I don't want to change the subject to Man United, but like I just read it passing, so I don't know how true it was. I just heard that like Bruno Fernandes said he would sign a contract extension if they kept Pogba, and something like that. It sort of it makes sense, I mean, now how can he? I mean, if Son is there, I mean, if Kane leaves, you're taking away 40. Is it like close to 30 close to 30 goal contributions in the season? What is your team going to do then? You're literally taking it away. I know from experience where Arsenal lost Robin van Persie to Man United, and we literally gave Man United the league. You just gave them all the goals because Robin van Persie went that season. I think, if I'm not mistaken, was top goal scorer.
Yep.
And then they won. They won the league.
And then Ferguson retired on a high.
And I think
So
Van
I
Persie was
can't
the
see.
top scorer when he played for Arsenal the season before as well.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So he did the same thing. They bought the goals for a cheap price even. I think it was a good return on investment. But like if I just look at those situations and Kane, I don't think he's going to be fading out. I think even when Kane hit his first 20, I think people thought they said, he's just a lucky spell. And I mean, obviously he's proved himself and said he can do it. And I don't doubt that he can do it next season. So if he leaves, Son could stay because of the kind of person he is. But if he's got other people advising him, I don't think it would be it'd be the right thing. He could do so much more with the better team. I mean, if he could play in a Liverpool team, he could play in a Man United team, he could play in a Man City team. He could play for any team, yeah, and he could do all. He could play for Real Madrid. He could play for Barcelona.
I think it all depends. It all depends on who they bring in, because Mason is not going to keep the job. Let's like, be realistic. So Mason's not going to keep the job. So I think it depends on who they bring in as the manager. I was checking the odds today. Nagelsmann is top or something like that. And
Nagelsmann has just signed a contract with Bayern Munich.
Yeah,
it's been announced today. With the most expensive payout for a manager, I think it's up to £25 million in bonuses, or it's euros, and it's a 5-year deal. The man's only 33 years old. He's got a huge future. I mean, the things that he's done at Red Bull Leipzig, and it's not Red Bull, sorry, RB Leipzig. Red Bull's just to cover up there. But he's going to Bayern now. So he was the leading candidate for the Spurs job. Second favorite, I think, was Brendan Rodgers, and he's come out saying, why would he leave? He's not interested. He's at Leicester, and he believes they can compete week in, week out, top 4, which I think he's running the club. They're letting him do whatever he wants. He's come in. He's seen a team that hasn't had an identity, and he's given them an identity at Leicester, and he's in full control of this new stadium, but new training center that he has, the players that he wants in and out. He's not going there anytime. And then it comes back to the point again. Where do Spurs go from here? And you guys are mentioning if they bring someone in, do the players stay? The players aren't staying regardless. That's the big thing. So Spurs are still going to be paying off that stadium, and they're going to be in big trouble. It's going to be very interesting. I don't know. So you were saying, Darren, in terms of who do you think? What do you think the likelihood of them bringing in, say, the Ajax manager? I think what's his name? It's Ten Hag. I think that's how you pronounce it. That's someone I would be looking at realistically, going, yeah, man playing at Ajax, wants to practice his trade at Premier League. But also, any decent manager, why would you go to Spurs? Daniel Levy could sack you within the first 6 months. He'd sack his own mother, for crying out loud.
100%. And the thing is, like, I mean, you mentioned the Ajax manager here. The next in line after Nagelsmann and like you said, Brendan Rodgers, I think it was like Scott Parker, who's going down with Fulham now. Why would you go and hire a manager there? Graham Potter, he's also hanging around at the bottom there. I mean, I like the idea of Graham Potter because I enjoy the way he plays. But the thing is, and he'll have better players at his disposal, obviously, if he's at Tottenham. But yeah, there's obviously a problem in the changing room there that needs someone to come in and stamp out all the problems and things like that. And who's going to have that authority to do that? If Mourinho couldn't do it, who's going to do it?
Yeah, I like that. That's fair. Yeah,
I think like even I mean, just looking at the way Levy's been acting, I think you're right in that sense, Claudio. He's definitely going to. You've definitely now turned a couple of managers maybe who wanted to enter the Premier League. They've definitely said Spurs is like, if they had Spurs as an option, they'd probably put it down there, because I remember I read something where Pep as well, not Pep Guardiola, where they said Pep Guardiola, Chelsea were interested in getting Pep, and then Pep said no ways. Abramovich is too erratic. He could just be there. Next thing is gone. And you can see the kind of teams that Pep joins. And I mean, when he was at Barcelona, he was there for long term, did his thing. Then he left to Bayern Munich. There long term, did his thing, and then again he left again out of his own will. And here he's at Man City. Probably there, Man City is going to leave again out of his own will. So he chooses his teams wisely, And I would assume, and I mean, all the better managers in the world would do the same thing. That's why I can't see a good manager. Maybe someone even. It would be a good team to try. Like, let's say you want to enter the Premier League. I mean, and try out your trade there. But if you got someone like that who's gonna just be firing you left, right, and center,
but it's not even
money.
the guy firing you. It's to what Darren is saying. The squad's already toxic. Some of those players should have moved on a couple of seasons. They're past their sell-by date. Hugo Lloris should have gone. There's a couple of them for Torgan left last season, but the other one, Alderweireld and all those guys. There's just too many players, and that's when we look at Ferguson. Everyone talks about the successful management of Ferguson. He just knew when to move a player on and keep that sort of atmosphere within the club right. So now when we're looking at Spurs in general, we're already saying everyone's looking at it. We know they're paying off the stadium. We know that they got players that are going to leave. They're paying off Mourinho. The only incentive they've got for a new manager, the only incentive they've got is saying, cool, we're probably going to sell Kane and we're probably going to sell Son. So with that money, you can go and find the players and rebuild the team, what is anyone going to get losing those two players with the money that you're going to receive? We've seen it time and time again. Liverpool got rid of Suarez. They couldn't rebuild the team after that from that money they just get from Suarez. They got rid of Gareth Bale, Spurs. The same thing happened. They stuck with Lamelo, who's still on bench. I don't know how that guy's still at the club. That's kind of what happens. Yeah. But valid point. Pumalani asking here, he's saying Bielsa to come in at Spurs. There's no chance
he would never
would ever do that. Ever.
He would never.
I think I explained it before. Like, he's a football romantic, so he wants to take a club that's basically Leeds have always had a rich history, but I mean, we were down in the doldrums in the Championship mid-table, and he's basically taken our club from nowhere to where it is now, 9th in the Premier League, one ahead of Arsenal, which is great. And look, I would love to say that he'll never leave, but I mean, he could possibly, but he's not going to a club like Tottenham.
Never.
Yeah, so that I think I can put my head on a block there and say that. But what about Rolf Hasenhüttl from Southampton? That might not be a bad shot because I mean, he had a great start to the season with Southampton, and they did the same thing with Pochettino, if you remember. Remember, he was at Southampton first, and then went over to Tottenham. So
he did very well.
Yeah, there might be some.
I don't know. I think it's been too hot and cold for him. I mean, even towards the end of the last season, the results weren't great. He had a good first half, and then the wheels have come off the bus a little bit. So I don't know. And also, how much do we judge all these managers with regards to this current season when we consider all the variables and we consider everything? I mean, this has been a season like no other. So it does become tricky, especially also, which begs the question again with Daniel Levy sacking. Why are you just sacking someone if you didn't have a plan? Like, if Nagelsmann was on number one on your list, why not secure that before the sacking? A lot of questions to be answered, and I don't know.
Like when they sacked Pochettino, Mourinho was in 2 days later. So, but this time he didn't have a plan B. He puts Mason in charge. I mean, he's younger than me, and he's managing Tottenham. It's crazy.
Yeah, it is nuts, dude. It is crazy, dude. But all right, Premier League, we're going to go to the game that we might as well start with this game because the weekend started with the game, and obviously it's the only one that Wonga watched. So, Wonga, take it away. Arsenal 0, Everton 1. Everton's fighting for that top 4 spot. The dream is alive there.
Yeah, I think it was, for me, it was just like the game with Fulham. It was, I mean, not both teams were not really much in it. Everton had, well, let's say in it. Let me say the game wasn't that really entertaining, to be honest with you. And Everton had the better chances at the end of the day. Look, for me, it's a game we should be winning. I mean, that's what I said last week. I said, just based on the circumstances, it's a game that we should be winning. West Ham are playing against Chelsea. Guys above us are playing each other, you know. So we have to win. We win. Definitely one's going to fall. We can also climb points. But again, and this is the 6th time I'm probably saying this. It would have been a different position if we had won at least 3 of those 6, you know. And Arteta was, I think there was a point where, I don't know if you guys saw it, where Dani Ceballos where Dani Ceballos fell in the box, I would say. They said he
didn't fall. Why do you say he fell? That was the blatant dive. That was La Liga 101. This is what they teach the 7-year-olds in Spanish football. That was pure diving.
It was bad. Oh my goodness. It was horrible. and we still got the
There was a
penalty.
close handball shout as well in that one, wasn't there?
No, it wasn't.
Everton,
No, it wasn't the Everton game, if I can't remember. No, it wasn't. But that was Chelsea. Then,
yes, it was Chelsea. Yeah, so.
then, so we get a penalty, and a penalty was disallowed because of there was offside before. And then Arteta lost. I think Arteta was like, nah, this is VAR, this is like the last straw, whatever. They need to get the act together. But I'm thinking to myself, bro, VAR has nothing to do with that result that we had, and we shouldn't have got the penalty in the first place. If Arteta, in fact, for me, Arteta should be applying that same, he should be applying that same critique on his team, the way they perform, not on VAR. And VAR, we know, the way it is, and this weekend there's also decisions that were in and out. But for me, he needs to be criticizing his team the way he just criticized that VAR. Because for me, it's like I can't understand. Pepe, again, like I just don't know, Claudio, what's in this with Arsenal. It's a lot happening at the club. I get it, but at the end of the day, we're sitting 10th on the table now, and we have opportunities to climb. We come against Everton. Everton also not in a good run, and what do? We give them the win. I don't blame it on Leno. I think Leno, it happens. I'm not blaming the loss on Leno. Yeah, it was his fault, and we lose the game because of it. But Leno, we should have scored as well. And Leno has had, I think, a good season.
Not even a good season. I think like when you're looking at that game was pretty one-sided. Everton had majority of the ball. They were the ones taking the game to Arsenal. Arsenal were just keeping the shape, all that they could do, which is what has been the theme throughout the season, really, against. And this is the irony, is against the biggest side, somewhat Everton in this scenario being the biggest side. They were keeping the shape. They were holding it back. And Leno, to be fair, up until that moment, was probably one of the better players in that Arsenal team. The saves he was pulling off were phenomenal.
Yeah.
So,
for me, that was like, you're right. For me, it was just a one. It was either that goal, either that whack shot, or the other shots the guys, the ones that he saved. I think he did everything that he could have done. But for me, the team, like we play against Chelsea, like the one season, like when we beat Chelsea 3-0, that's an Arsenal that I want, team that like goes out and wants to win a match, the team that beat who did you play in the Europa the last Europa match we played, we Arsenal won, I think it was 4. Can't remember who we played now. Was it Slavia?
Belgrade? Yeah, it was Slavia, yeah.
Slavia,
it was a Czech side,
They literally took the game to them. Yeah, Slavia, but you could see those intent. There's intent to win, there's intent to go up. But then now we come on the weekend, now we're a different team. There's like a different mentality. It's like, it's this thing I hate saying. I always say it, like, I don't know why guys go out there and they wanna play chess. If you play against Liverpool, right? You play against a Man City. You know exactly what you're gonna get. And that's why I also respect Leeds as well, in that sense. Is that when you play against Leeds, you know exactly what's going to happen. You know exactly the way they're going to play, and they play to their strength, because that's how it is. But now with Arsenal, it's like, no, this game must play like this, this game must play like this, and then it doesn't work. It doesn't work. It works sometimes, but it's failed us most of the time. And look at us now compared to the other season. Now we're middle of the goddamn table, and people are telling us there's a plan to win the Champions League in 3 seasons. I don't know.
No, man, I think it's just a lack of belief, man. It's one of those situations where you mentioned the Europa game. It's interesting. They went into the game believing they could get something from it. Hence, being very on the front foot from the beginning. Now they've gone into the game against Everton. Oh, Ancelotti, some bigger players. So naturally they're gone, okay, we can't give away too much because this side can hurt us. And I think that's the problem. It's that fear that they have that teams can hurt them, as opposed to going, we're a side that can hurt teams regardless of who they are. And that's one of those things that come with time. The manager needs to win things. He needs to build that culture within the squad. And right now, there are too many distractions for Arsenal. On the field, off the field. It's just everywhere. It's just a mess. It's a mess for most clubs right now. But at the moment at Arsenal, it's been a mess for the last how many years. And one of the things that actually went well for Arsenal is the fact that it has been a mess off the field, that the fans and the fan TV, the stuff we were saying, had such an influence on the club.
Yeah.
Because of them, they were able to influence us, one of the influential factors in terms of the Super League. So that's also an interesting fact that there's just all that noise, all that cloud. Darren, you want to weigh in on this?
Yeah, so I was just reading Celo's comment there. They need to focus on the Europa, and that's basically their season's over. They're going to end. I know there's 5 games left now, I think it is. So they're not going to make Europa outright. Look, if they win their next 5 games, I'll be very surprised. But just the way that their season's gone, they've been so on and off, and more off than on, in my opinion. And they just need. Celo's right. They need to focus on the Europa because that's their only hope that they've got of making Europe next season. And like I said in the show the last time I was on, if they don't, and I know this whole Super League's put a spanner in the works, but if they don't, and if things stay the way that they should stay, they might be on a slippery slope down the league, I'm afraid, if they don't sort things out. So, and I hope that doesn't happen because, you know, they are a big club and you don't want to see massive clubs go down the pyramid and down the leagues, you know. But I honestly think Arsenal's too big for that to happen. But you don't want to see it. You don't want to see them struggling for relegation type of thing, you know. I know some fans might, but I don't know so much.
Yeah, well, let's talk about one of the things off the field at the moment that has been somewhat positive in the last, I think it's 48 hours, 24 hours, is Daniel Ek Wanga, the Spotify chairman, wanting to buy the club, an Arsenal fan, and also wanting to bring the likes of Henry, Bergkamp, and Vieira into the fold, into the mix. I mean, what are you thinking about all this, man?
Yeah, it's. I thought it was pretty interesting. I mean, it sounds. It's sort of the thing that, you know, that sounds nice to the ear. It's very appealing.
Maybe too nice. Am I right?
Yeah, it sounds very nice. I mean, a young guy. I think he's 38. Also Arsenal supporter. And you know, he's also he's not just someone that's just saying it is. I mean, he truly does support the club, and you can see there's some. Yeah, and there's some attachment that he has to it, you know. I just read a couple of tweets that he posted in the past, and I was like, okay, so this guy he's not just saying this just so that he can get his feet in, you know. And
Wanga, they say when he takes some of his Spotify board meetings, if Arsenal is playing, he puts the game on while the board meeting's happening.
Oh, hectic! Yeah, so he's pretty much involved, and he's got other guys that are other Arsenal supporters following him, and they always ask him stuff and all that stuff, and he gets in on the convo as well. So it was, and I mean, to pull out that, I mean, I think Arsenal's worth. They're saying Arsenal is worth. In fact, it was sold for 1.8. It was the thing. It was worth 1.8 billion in 2018. And now, I mean, the amount. I mean, compared to his net worth, that's quite a bit, you know. So I mean, if someone's going to be doing that, I think he's still got a lot to do to do that. But he's looking for. I mean, I think he's going about it the right way as well. I mean, he's trying to get. I think
political move.
You got Bergkamp. You got Vieira. He's got. What is Bergkamp, Vieira, and who else am I missing here? Henry. Henry.
Yeah, and it's just been inducted into the Hall of Fame, and that's the one you forget. Oh my goodness!
So I think that's a good move. I mean, because I think, because right now, and it's the right word to put. I mean, I honestly, just to put it out here now, I don't think the Krugers will sell, especially if our season goes to shambles this year, because the club will be definitely evaluated for less. And he's at the time he got it was worth 1.8, you know, but. Just looking at everything, the way he's going about it, he's always, I mean, again, he's obviously after the Super League thing, he's thought about, you know, let's try to put the fans first. It's got to have someone that's going to relate to the fans. There's those guys, the legends. And I think
not even just that. I mean, that's definitely a political sort of thing to get the fans on side, but he's also come out saying he wants to give a share to the fans. And it's going to be a sort of a consortium sort of bid, which is pretty interesting. So that, like you said, he is definitely hitting all the rights or singing all the right tunes at the moment. But it's one of those things that probably seems too good to be true. And we know that the Kronkers aren't willing sellers by any means. They want to hang on. They don't give zero shits. They see the bottom line. They keep hold of it. And that's, you know, that's unfortunately sort of where they're at from a sort of club perspective.
You go, Darren.
No, go ahead, Darren.
Yeah, so you said earlier it sounds a bit too nice, and I think that's a perfect way to look at it because it sounds a bit too good to be true. It would be amazing. In my opinion, I want all the American owners out. Get European owners in, or English owners, or like you said, a consortium. The way they do it in Germany, I heard the one dude from Arsenal Fan TV saying these clubs need to maybe look at the 51% ownership of by the fans and then the 49 by others. But look, that's not going to change overnight. We know that. But yeah, I think in this market you need to have a buyer and a seller. So obviously this guy from Spotify wants to buy, but Kroenke doesn't want to sell. So that's where there's going to be a problem in the end, unfortunately. But who knows? Maybe there's some light at the end of the tunnel with that. But I guess time will
because the way like what I see as well is it's like the Kroenkes have been they did it before, you know. There was the guy before, I think was it Asmalov, his name was. Getting it wrong, but he also wanted to get Kroenke shares as well, so he could have majority shareholder, but that didn't work out. And I think in the end, he just basically he wanted to run the club, and I think him and Kroenke had many disagreements, you know. And in the end, he said, "Look, I can't be with this guy, so might as well just, you know, let the guy take the club and he'll go somewhere else." And he ended up selling his all his shares, and now the whole thing now, I mean, all the shares now belong to one man. But the interesting thing I saw was the fans are like, okay, so guys are looking at Henry, they're looking at Bergkamp, and people are like, okay, look, yeah, it's nice they're running it, and then they want to understand what their role would be in it. And some people are assuming they're saying, oh, Henry would be coach, Bergkamp would be this guy would be here. And I think Jens Lehmann raised a good point in saying that if they were to get involved in the club, they just need to ensure that they are experienced, you know. Because I heard there's something else like they were saying like Oliver Kahn now is trying to be CEO of Bayern Munich, and I think that was
Jens Lehmann's already on the board at Hertha Berlin, and he was the one saying, he's like, this is all very nice and well, but what are these what are the roles for these players? It's like what Henri Vieira, both coaches. He says, well, you've already got Edu in the club. Well, they're going to come in above him. Like they said, they said they're just going to think this out before.
Yeah, and then I heard that, and then I saw some guys were saying Matteo Flamini must come in there. I was like, what now? Why Matteo Flamini? And then
just bring back the whole invincible squad. Just throw them in there. You might as well put them on the pitch and see what happens. Eh?
But Flamini, they say Flamini. They said Flamini now. He opened up a company with Mesut Ozil. I think they called it Unity or something. And they say that's doing well. And then he's also opened up it's called GF Biomechanics. And they're doing very well. Yeah. Claudio, I was like, he's got a company. He's opened up a company.
Darren, this is what happens when you're an Arsenal fan, and it's just been years of results not being great on the pitch. You're trying to find little wins somewhere else. So as soon as you hear an ex-player doing well on a business front, you're like, come on, man, let's get in. That's a victory. That's a victory. Wonga, Lolo was Selo was saying, yeah, Usmanov was the name that you're talking about. He now has shares, 30% shares in Everton. Yeah.
Or is it 30% shares in Everton?
Yeah, bro.
Oh, see, that's what happens. Can you see? But anyways.
Yeah, bro.
We said he had 30%. Is that not Arsenal?
Oh, he had 30% in Arsenal. Yes, that's correct. But then obviously now that's all gone to your boy Kroenke. But then, so the name is GF Biomechanics. Yeah, and he's also his co-founder. It's him and a guy called Pascal Granada. And they apparently they did this company, I don't know what it means, but they say that the only company to produce something called livernic acid, and basically they own, obviously that's their competitive advantage. It's probably just the first to do something like that, and the only company to do something like that. And they're doing pretty well. They say they got something like, the company's also got 50 patents, and they got 200 outstanding patents around the country. But I'm saying, like, look, it's a big company. That's all I'm trying to say. And this is Matteo Flamini getting into ventures. So guys are like saying, okay, look, we've got a guy like this, Matteo Flamini. He's actually proven himself in business. He's actually proven himself in business, and he's a ex Arsenal player. You could, I don't know if you want to put him in the legend status, but he left and he came back.
What's
just
the
like
difference
Henry.
between? All I'm thinking is if the Spotify deal happens, you've got a man, right, who's a diehard Arsenal fan since he was a kid. Okay, there's no difference to that. So he understands the fans' view, which is most important. And then the second thing is, can you imagine Arsenal's kits every season with Adidas have been probably the hottest kits every season? And then just throw Spotify in the mix. That's your title sponsor sorted. The guys will be getting jams. You've already got the likes of Aubameyang and Lacazette thinking they're rappers when they walk out into the field. Could you imagine them with the Spotify branding? It'd be next level sort of stuff. But anyway,
but why approach a guy like Henry and them? Sorry, why approach a guy like Henry and them? Why don't you add someone like Matteo Flamini? Surely he has some sort of say in what was happening at Arsenal.
Because an owner doesn't want competition. You don't want competition from an executive sort of level. You kind of want good foot soldiers, good guys to run the club, and those guys are figureheads. Where you've got, if you bring in Henry, you bring in a Vieira, you give yourself X amount of time to get settled. Because guys aren't just going to turn on you. They're like, seemingly on paper, he's made the right decisions. He's thought about the fans. They're not just going to turn and swear at Henry. We know what happened to Wenger over time, but that happened a long sort of period of time. And that's why those names are being associated. Flamini, if it doesn't hit the ground, guys are like, it's Flamini. He's more worried about his own business because he's been successful in his business. So that's probably the one thing I would say. Sorry, Darren, you were going to say something.
No. I was all good, but I was thinking now, what you were saying about Henry and them, even if you just bring those guys in as ambassadors, I know they probably are already ambassadors, but like just in a sense that look, they're probably wealthy in their own right, but not like billionaires. So I mean, you could bring them into a boardroom type of role, but just obviously just for the fans to be able to know that they are there.
They're being represented.
Yeah. So that's true.
I agree with you, Claudia. I mean, he obviously doesn't want competition in that regard, and you can understand that. So that's obviously why I'll get these guys in, just have them as figureheads so that they keep the fans happy, and that's the most important thing. But look, I think if this thing had to happen, it will be the best thing that's happened to Arsenal since the Invincibles won the league in 2004, to be honest. So let's see. But I don't see it happening. If I'm being
they're too stubborn. They would never accept it. And I think that will be, I can't lie to you, I think that'll be our downfall because they want to go up, but over all these years it's been going down. I think the only thing that can help us now would be the fans. The same way they took out Wenger.
Sorry, I'm just laughing here because for the one game that you watch this whole season, whenever Wonga's here and it's the Arsenal we talk about, we always talk about Arsenal for a long time. So I think it's time, Wonga. We move over. We're going to talk about the top four race, and we had the West Ham Chelsea sort of game, and I say sort of game because it was a massive game on paper, but in the end, the result was what we all thought. I think we said Chelsea would be a winner by one sort of goal difference, and that's exactly what it was, 1-0. But out of all players that scored the goal, Timo Werner scored his first goal in 21 games. And then he had a sitter that he missed in the second half as well.
Just went back to it. Another 25 games coming. Like after that, you could just see it. Like, that was bad.
Man.
But I'm watching the game. I think
it didn't really look like they were going to get into it either, to be honest.
No.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and they all spoke about that sending off, which, by the way, was absolutely bizarre. It was definitely no sending off. But at the same time, that
was horrible. How do you look at that and say? I mean, you first you could see, if you played quickly, you can see like, oh no, this guy's literally just kicked the ball. Where must he put his foot? Must he like float? I don't know what can he do. That's why I was like, no ways. These referees they're ridiculous. No ways.
I think it's a standard thing. So the same thing happened to Cooper or our centre back against Man City. He goes in, he clears the ball, and then he lands up smashing, I forget who it was. I think it was Mahrez's knee or something. No, Gabriel Jesus' knee. And it was a terrible, I wouldn't say challenge because he didn't. I mean, he won the ball clearly. He cleared the ball and his follow through went into the knee. And that looked horrible. But I mean, 10 years ago, that would have been a great challenge and the fans would have been going wild. But now, obviously, because things have changed, you just can't be going in anymore like that, I'm afraid, in my opinion, with VAR and the way things are going. Yeah, so I don't know.
So
if
wait,
you're
you
gonna be
saying are you saying there was a sending off? Is that what
if
you're
you're gonna
saying?
be if you're gonna be
Ah, yeah,
consistent,
yeah,
then
Darren.
yes, I think so. Yeah. Then, yeah, I
No,
think so.
man.
Yeah.
No, man.
No
Listen,
way.
if we're gonna stop every little thing, and I think this is the issue with VAR. If we're gonna stop every little thing and scrutinize it and be forensic about the angle, the side, you can find causality in most things if that's the case. But in this scenario, the he's cleared the ball, and the other guy's got into. If anything, you could say Chilwell was kind of obstructing his clearance because he's put his body in there. He had no attempt of winning the ball. He's actually put his body in the way, and the follow-through's caught him, and now the player's gotten sent off.
I agree with you 1000%, Claudia. That's what I'm saying. I don't think it is a sending off, but if they're going to be consistent, if you're going to be consistent, there was another challenge a week after that guys are getting red cards for these type of things. So if they're going to be consistent, it had to be a red card, in my opinion. But I don't think it's a red card. But VAR, that's the way it works now.
I feel like I'm speaking to Dermot Gallagher here in the cool down. I feel like we've got our own very Dermot Gallagher
on football on the football show on a Monday, Ref Watch or something. Yeah.
Oh, there we go. Look at this. The red card is rescinded. There we go. Thank you, Settle. Thanks for that bit of information. Really? That obvious call. Yeah.
Okay. No, but you see, like, this kills me. You rescind something like that, and then David Luiz's red card stands. I can't remember which game we played, but I mean, I think it was against Wolves. That was ridiculous.
Wolves, yeah.
That was ridiculous.
Here's the problem: is if you can't remember it, why should the FA give a shit about it? Let's be
honest. Bro. No, I'm saying about at the time it was important. At the time, the kick. Like, and then we lost him for like obviously because of the red card, 2 games. We appeal for it. And like, nah, this guy's won because everyone else is saying the same thing. They're like, oh no, shouldn't have been. Where can he put his foot? It's literally the same situation. Like, David Luiz is worse because his hair touched the guy. You know, so I can't understand these guys how they make these decisions, especially after the game. Say they take it away. No, that's just nonsense.
That's amazing, by the way. I can't believe that they actually rescinded it. But okay, well then obviously it wasn't a red card then.
Well, it never was. No ways. There's no ways it could have been. There's no ways.
They probably only rescinded it. They took it away because Gallagher, Gurmit, what was his name?
Yeah.
Gallagher, he said that he even said it on the show. First time I've heard him say it, but he said it that it's not a red card. Absolute mistake. So they're like, okay, we have to carry on with this flow, surely.
Yeah, they're like, listen, he's making us look bad, but that's also what he's doing now. He's realizing because he's pretty much the figurehead. So every time they ask him the question, Ian Wright and all these guys have a go at him, he's almost the guy that everyone's blaming, like, because they're actually talking to him. None of the other refs are being accountable. So now he's also going, wait a minute, I don't like being on the other end. I'm tired of defending these guys for making mishaps. I'm actually... Yeah, so now it's like, no, screw it. I'm throwing these guys under. Now the refs are going, oh, okay, hang on. We can't. He's not even defending us anymore. But one thing I want to talk about with regards to the results of this game, the West Ham-Chelsea game, guys, is that when we're looking at this and we're going, okay, you know, it was a big, on paper, was big for the top 4. West Ham don't get the results at home that they needed. Chelsea completely and utterly in the driving seat now. They've got the 3 points clear of West Ham. They've got, what is it? I think it's 4 points clear of Liverpool. Tottenham. The only guys you're looking at, Everton with the game in hand, are 6 points behind them. How big does this result impact the West Ham and their hopes or aspirations for qualifying for the Champions League?
I think they're done now. I think they'll make Europa, West Ham, but I think they're done with Champions now. I think Chelsea's, like I said, with the squad they've got, and Tuchel's obviously got them doing some things different and better things. I know they had that freak loss to West Brom, but since then they've been pretty solid. You know? So I don't see them dropping many points until the end of the season. West Ham, regardless, I mean, they've had a great season. It'll probably be a season that gets spoken about for a long time. But yeah, I think Champions League is one step too far now.
Yeah, fair enough. I
think
so. Yeah,
I agree. I can agree with Darren on that one. For me, the funny thing, I just looked at Chelsea and them playing, and it's funny how Lampard's gone, and the best player in the team, in my opinion, is Mason Mount. The guy that Lampard put in, the guy that everyone complained about in the beginning, said,
One of the reasons
blah,
he was
blah,
sacked,
blah.
I can imagine, yeah.
Everyone was happy about the Havertz and Werner. Gee whiz, the hype around him was madness. I think Liverpool fans were sad then. Now they're like, no, it's so good. But all the hype around all that, and
right.
the best player in the team right now is Mason Mount. That's what I found very funny. But yeah, that's what I wanted to say about that.
I think we can move on from that because that's exactly it. Mason Mount, gee, even the shots, you can see, like he's saying, he's been practicing his long range shooting. That boy, that's how they scored their goals. That's how Werner missed that sitter. It was a long range, the keeper fluffed it, and then boom, open goals.
And we did say in the beginning that Lampard was the same situation. He was taking in no one believed in him and all that stuff, and he had someone who believed in him.
He's smiling now.
Yeah, he knows. He knew. He brought in Mason Mount, and there was not a doubt in his head. Not a doubt. Yeah. So
which also makes you wonder.
Nice to see.
It's bizarre that when you think about the fans and the pundits and everyone else, when you're looking at it on paper, here's a guy in the likes or in the form of one of the greatest English players that have played for England in recent memory, and he's saying, "This player I trust. This player I'm backing 100%," and everyone's going, "What do you see in this kid?" It's bizarre that we're able to question that. Yeah.
And he's only the funny thing I was also saying is that he only was able to bring in one player. If they'd given him the chance to bring in his own players,
it would have been Declan Rice as well.
Who knows where they would have been? That's the thing.
No.
So,
are we talking about Lampard bringing in Mount?
Yeah.
No, well, he had him, but I'm just saying if he did bring in, because he also wanted to spend money. One of the signings he wanted was Declan Rice.
Yes,
that was well reported. One of the things that caused friction with. I never get a name right. Mariana, whatever. It's because the Russian lady who's running Chelsea, that one. Yeah. Anyway,
he just to end off on that, Lampard also, I can't stand him, but he also had Mount at Derby County the year before.
Yes,
so, and he had like 3 or 4 Chelsea players there. So yeah, if you want to give him any credit, he did a good job with Mount, I think. Because he is a good player. But yeah, that's just ending off that, I think.
Darren Gallagher just verifying what he's seen on the VAR screen.
Well,
right.
Clearly I'm not very good because it got rescinded today. So.
Just the Liverpool Newcastle game. I mean, this was nonsense. This was proper nonsense. It was exactly what we said it was going to be. It was a one-sided game. Liverpool had chance after chance. I think in excess of like 30-something attempts. It was ridiculous. Just the guy didn't take their chances. And Newcastle at 1-0 did exactly what Steve Bruce liked. They stuck around. They hung in the game. And they got the results in the end. And the irony is they actually scored a legitimate goal. And it was the one time VAR actually worked in Liverpool's favor. And 10 seconds afterwards, they scored anyway.
Yeah. That was like when I saw that decision, I felt like when I watched the highlights, I felt like they were saying, No. That's the wrong goal scorer, so you can't have the goal. It has to be Willock. It has to be Willock.
Yeah.
And there goes Willock, and he scores that goal. Goodness me.
Sorry, Wonga, I just want to stop. So the lady's name is Marina Granovskia. I never get that right. And you know what? Settle's also giving me shit just saying, can we please send Claudia on a pronunciation course? So I think I pronounce it accurately. I think you're just not used to hearing the foreign tongue, Silo. I think that's actually the problem here. But yeah, Wonga, you were saying the Willock sort of thing. I laughed my head off. I put up a stat on the Twitter account where he's played in 4 games. He's played a total of, I think it's 60 minutes, and he's scored 3 goals now for Newcastle, all off the bench.
And vital goals, not just that's keeping them safe. He can go out as a Newcastle legend playing for Arsenal. Goodness me. Like he's literally kept them up there.
I think this is I know there's still 5 games, but I think now I know they're not safe, but I think they're safe now.
No, they're there. I think they're there.
Yeah, they're there.
5 games.
That's
5 games to go. Fulham's next game's Chelsea. It's not looking up.
Yeah.
West Brom's next game's Wolves. Wolves aren't looking too hard. Sheffield playing Spurs. Brighton playing Leeds though, and then we've got Newcastle playing Arsenal next game. Wonga. So that's an interesting one. One thing, if I'm going to reel it back to the game, the Liverpool-Newcastle game, the changing point for Liverpool, we were in, like I said, in utter control. There wasn't even a sort of, there was no, the one player that was doing something for Newcastle was Saint Maximum. That was a get for me. I don't know how he stays in Newcastle into the season. Yeah, man, phenomenal player. I don't know how he stays there. They were literally just relying on him to do something every single time. But Liverpool were in neutral. They were chilling. And then Jurgen Klopp decides, hey, I'm going to take off Thiago. I'm going to put on Curtis Jones, and I'm going to take one or two other guys off. And then all of a sudden, as soon as Thiago came off the field, things just unraveled. We had no control anymore. And all of a sudden, Newcastle were like, hey, we can get on the ball now. We can get on the ball. Because Thiago might not be good at breaking play, but what he had was how we were set up, we had a bit of a 4-2-3-1 situation with Firmino playing behind Jota. We had Mane and Salah on the wings. So what happened was Gini Wijnaldum was giving Thiago that support that he hasn't been given in the past games when we were playing three in the midfield. So he was able to dictate the game, and Wijnaldum was putting in all the hard graft. As soon as that changed, as soon as it went off, all of a sudden we were exposed again. And then it goes back to the point where Klopp was asked in terms of top four aspirations, saying if we don't learn, we don't play Champions League. It's simple. But even he's running out of words. But at the end of the day, I think that was one of the situations where we can actually look to him and say, but why did you do that? Why are you giving these guys you were only 1-0 up. You weren't 3-4-0. I understand that you were on paper, it's one of those situations where you feel like you're in control, but you didn't take advantage of it.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, Claude. And you don't know, do you blame the manager? I think that for me, the guys had the chances, Mo Salah as well should have scored the goals. You saw how frustrated he was when he went off. And I'm pretty sure it was more at himself. But it's like when I looked at Liverpool, I was like, this is like this. You can even see they're a better squad than Arsenal. So I think it's probably more frustrating for you guys because these are games you win it, and that spot. Like, how many games is that now, Claude? It's probably like 3 or 4 that you should have won. And
no, it's like 20. It's like 20.
Yeah.
But we had the moment with Leeds, beginning of the week, same sort of thing. And again, the problem is it's right at the end of the game. So now all of a sudden, it's given your circumstances.
Yeah, so given your circumstances, I think it's you can see. I mean, the players in the team. Any team in the league would have them on any day, even if they had one foot injured.
Yeah.
And you just wonder, how are they not winning games? Even me, I couldn't believe it. And I saw Liverpool didn't kill off the game. I couldn't believe it. But
the next game is against Man United. Yes, sir.
Just to the Liverpool side. I know you guys obviously spoke about it before, but the Leeds game that we played against Liverpool, I felt like Liverpool were in control the first. Look, we had some opportunities, but I felt like Liverpool were in control. They took the lead. But instead of continuing to play the same way that they were playing the first half, they let Leeds have more of the ball, and we, in my opinion, in the second half, dominated Liverpool. They had a couple of counter attacks, but you're right. I mean, you let the other team back into the game. Why not just play the same way that you were playing? Try get the results. And at the end of the day, like dropping points like that, you guys getting into Champions League next season. Hey, those 3 points that you dropped, or those 2 points that you're dropping are tough, right? Every single time.
Yeah. But also, you know what the frustrating thing is, all the fans have been on Thiago's back. Not Liverpool fans in particular, but all fans. And this was one game where the guy was actually dominating. One of your highest paid players, £200,000 a week. This guy is actually coming, and he's like, I'm feeling this today. I'm feeling at home at Anfield. I'm dominating this game. And you take him off 60 minutes, and all of a sudden you've pissed the lad off too. So it's like, what are we doing here? So that's
that move I also couldn't understand. Even the guys who took going mad about him.
Maybe 2, but not 1 up. Come on.
Yeah. I mean, 60 minutes. I mean, that's 30 minutes left to go in the game. And never mind the results of the game. I mean, just for him, you definitely want. I mean, you're running thin on players on the bench. On quality, let's say. And here's a guy. He's actually picking up something here at Newcastle game. Maybe this could go on for long. And I think you need that kind of performance coming into the next matches in the season. And then you go take him off. Nah, that's not the right move. Doesn't worry me as an Arsenal fan, but not the right move.
No. But let's talk about the right move here. Bielsa. 3 games: Man City, Liverpool, Man United, and of those games, he's gone unbeaten. He's beaten Man City. He's drawn against Liverpool,
Chelsea
and
as well. Chelsea in there as well.
But Chelsea, cool. But yeah, but I'm talking about these. These are 3 games in a row. These are games that you said you'd be happy if you walked away with a point from each. And here, you've got 5 out of possible 9.
Yeah.
Darren, the floor is yours. The floor is yours as a Leeds fan here, man. Come on.
Amazing.
The one team where things are going right. Wonga, our teams aren't. There's nothing going right there at the moment. Leeds is all coming together.
Yeah, you guys are above
we unbeaten in 6. So that includes Chelsea as well. So I mean, look, I couldn't have asked for more out of those 3 games that we spoke about when I was on the last podcast. Like you said, I was happy with 4. I thought we would get 4, but we've now ended with 5, and I mean that's great. I thought that we would. I think at the beginning I said I thought we'd lose to City. I thought we'd draw to Liverpool, and I thought we'd beat United. It went happened the other way around, which I can't really I can't really complain about. Look, I think the game on Sunday. I'm a diehard Leeds fan, but I think even the most diehard Leeds fan has to give United a bit of credit. I think they probably had the better of the chances, and also similar to how we played against City. I think Paul Scholes even said it. So I got a bit irritated, but he did make a point. We did sit back, and our defense has become a lot more structured than it was before the City game, even. And I think that's testament to Bielsa obviously learning and learning how the Premier League is working. And I know Nick said that he'd have to change a little bit, and I don't think he has, but it's weird because he has and he hasn't, in my opinion. But that game against United, it was a little bit less gung-ho than what we used to seeing Leeds play. It's normally just all-out attack. On Sunday, we defended really well and tried to push from the back and go on the counter, which is something that we are pretty decent at. But yeah, I think our defense has solidified quite a lot, and you have to be happy with a normal draw there, to be fair. And Paul Scholes also said he actually thinks that handball was a penalty. So I mean, if they gave that as a penalty, 1-0 to Leeds. So I wouldn't go as far as say he parked the bus, like Selo says there. I think we were more defensive than we normally are, but we still had our chances. And also, Calvin Phillips completely pocketed Bruno Fernandes. Bruno Fernandes was nowhere in that game. Calvin had him in his pocket the whole game, in my opinion. Selo might rip me apart for that, but I mean, there's memes going around with it everywhere as well. So, yeah, you got to be pretty heartened by that performance, I think. Look, we've got Brighton coming up and Tottenham, and then the rest are most of the games that Oaks are either already relegated or pretty much on holiday already. And 5 games left. Let's see where we end up. We've still got a remote chance of Europa League. So, I mean, if Everton slip up a bit, or
Everton are pushing for. Listen, when Ancelotti's come out saying that he believes they can still compete for Champions League, I mean, those players are going to believe it. And you know, one thing,
7th is a conference spot, for Europa.
Yeah, I think so. I think you're right. Yeah, no, you're right.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I think it is.
So we still could have a remote chance there. But to be honest, I don't think we're ready for that anyway. I don't think that we're ready for Europa yet. Let's have one more transfer window and see what happens from there, I think. But yeah, you got to be heartened by the performance, and hopefully onwards and upwards from here.
You know, Silo saying that Man United are going to sign Phillips, and Pumalani saying that Man United were poor. Also, Silo, something you said was Ollie's not going to take Man United to the league title anytime soon. One thing I've got a question there is that, okay, that's cool. The man's not going to take you to league title, but where to from there? If Spurs are going to struggle, look, I think Man United are in the same boat as a Spurs, but realistically, who do they replace Solskjaer with if they do have to go that route?
That's the truth. I don't know. But they're probably in a
Why
better
would they want to
position than.
replace him?
No, we're just saying hypothetical. If someone like Selo's saying the man's never going to win them a league title, we're going, okay, well, that's fair enough to say. But if you're going to say it, who do you bring in to replace him? Like, who is the right man to do that, especially right now in the current circumstance?
No one, I don't think. I think he's the best of what they can get.
Oh,
they're not going to get Pep. They're not going to get Pep, and he's the best of the best. So, yeah, I don't know who else they could get.
Well, that's pretty simple. All right, we're going to move over to the last thing we're going to talk about there. Oh, so what do you want to say, Wongo? What do you wonder?
I'm wondering about Zidane. If he ever decides to, because I mean, he's done everything at Madrid, literally. He's done everything at Madrid.
Why would he go to United though?
No, I'm just thinking. I'm saying I wonder. There's no one else. Think about it. I could say Pep. There's also there's no one I can think of. I'm just thinking, like you said, hypothetically. I mean, for me, I mean, a guy who's not. I mean, he's done everything in Spain. Yeah, and I mean, even now, the team he has now, and he's taking them to the Champions League semi-final. Goodness me. Yeah, I would like to see him do something else somewhere else. I'm just saying hypothetically. I can't think of anyone else, to be honest with you. But yeah, it's just interesting to say. Zidane.
All right, gents. Something significant happened this week with the Premier League, and obviously they've inducted 2 players in the Premier League Hall of Fame. That being Alan Shearer and, of course, Thierry Henry. Now, gentlemen, how do we feel about this? We have a Hall of Fame. Like, was it needed?
Yeah, I definitely think it's needed. I think it's also
about time, really.
Yeah, that's the honest truth. It was about time. Like to remember those guys. I mean, just for the players themselves, even. I mean, their efforts. I mean, even listening to Alan Shearer's story, he was saying that he had an opportunity to move before he joined Newcastle. He could have joined Man United, and he admits, he could have. If he had his performances, at Man United, he would have won more trophies. And I think everyone
already and everything.
Yeah, and I think I think everyone will agree with him when he says that was the best move that he did, you know. And I mean playing for a team like Newcastle and given the performances that he did, I think I mean definitely you can't say that guy doesn't deserve to be there. And Thierry Henry, there's no question about it as well. Same sort of thing. He was ahead of his time. Liverpool will tell you. Man Utd will tell you.
Jamie Carragher will write a book about that.
Yeah, he used to tie that guy's legs up. Oh my
Whenever he saw Henry, he just had jelly legs. I couldn't, but like as a fan, it was the most frustrating thing. I was like, is this guy even a footballer? Like I don't understand it. But as soon as Henry came up, it was just like jeepers. It's like, how did he become a professional footballer?
And I mean, like, but anyway, Henry, there was even that time Henry was playing against like Inter Milan when they played in the Champions League. I mean, that's when you saw Henry. I mean, how good he was against. I mean, not just in the league. In the league, he was punishing Oaks, and people are saying, you know, wondering what he could do against other guys, and he did the same thing. Went to Barcelona after having his career at Arsenal, won trophies. So I think definitely well deserved by the two of them. Definitely, you can't. No one can say they don't deserve it.
All right, I think we're all in agreement with saying, you know, these 2 players deserve to be there. But now the Premier League have opened it up to the rest of the fans to vote for 6 players that they think should be in that category. I'm going to show you the list of players. I don't know off the top of your head if you guys want to give any shouts or who you think should be in the all-time top 10 Premier League Hall of Fame. I'm going to put it on the screen here so you guys can see who the nominees are that you can vote for. And so we can look it over here if you guys can see it. So
okay,
the list, we've got Tony.
So don't mind me.
So we've got Tony Adams, we've got David Beckham, Dennis Bergkamp, Sol Campbell, Eric Cantona, Andy Cole, Ashley Cole, Didier Drogba, Les Ferdinand, Rio Ferdinand, Robbie Fowler, Steven Gerrard, Roy Keane, Frank Lampard, Matt Letizia, Michael Owen, Peter Schmeichel, Paul Scholes, John Terry, Van Persie, Nemanja Vidic, Patrick Vieira, and Ian Wright. Also thought the Van Persie thing, but I suppose it's pretty much it's what he does in that season for Ferguson. It's one of those, he carries Arsenal. He carries Arsenal to a certain extent. He does what he can, and then in one season at Man United, he wins them the Premier League.
Pretty much. For me, if Van Persie's there, yeah. So you go there.
Yeah, that's not on that list, but I can probably tell you exactly why. Excuse me if I missed
Lucas Radebe.
No, Ryan Giggs. But I think it's because of his all his escapades off the field that he hasn't been nominated. But if it wasn't for that, he would definitely be in there already. I think. I mean, he was the most capped Premier League player of all time, or something like that.
I just can't believe Peter Crouch isn't in this on the list there.
What? He was about to put Daniel Sturridge. Like, what the heck?
Why don't we just Jermaine Defoe, Robbie Keane? Why are these guys here? Jermaine Defoe, come on, man.
Is Jermaine Defoe Lucas?
No, it's not.
Lucas wasn't a bad shout, actually. But
but that's what I'm saying. Lucas Radebe.
No, he was.
What about Jimmy Floyd? Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank, not deserve to be on this list.
He was good. I don't know.
Okay, before for me, Oaks. Before
we pick the 6 that we would pick here, who should be on this list? Who isn't here? So Pumelani's given his 6. He's saying it's Tony Adams, it's Drogba, Rio Ferdinand, and Vidic, definitely. So that's 4. That's 4. 2 more Pumelani. You get to choose 6. If you go to the Premier League website, you can actually go vote there.
Is Vieira there? Patrick?
Yeah, Vieira's here. Vieira's right at the bottom. Ian Wright's another one. Yeah, of course. Bergkamp's on top, boy. Look, this is Bergkamp's got to be there. He's got to be in there.
I'd go Bergkamp. I'd go Drogba. I would go as much as I hate to say it, Lampard. I'm taking nothing away from him as a player. Actually, he was a great player. I just don't like him as a manager. Robbie Fowler and Paul Scholes, probably, yeah.
Paul Scholes?
He also played for ages.
Ahead of Steven Gerrard.
Oh, I missed that one. Is Gerrard there?
Yeah, of course Gerrard's there. What kind of a question is Gerrard there?
Okay.
Jeez, I might as well just put Mark. Well, let's put Mark Viduka there. Selor's coming out. Selor's is Scholes, Keane, Letitia, Adams, Andy Cole, and Bergkamp. I'm trying to dissect this. Is there something that's not sitting right here with me? I think 1, Keane.
2, 3, 4. Keane.
Pumelani's added to Vieira and Scholes. I think Vieira has to be there. Look, if Keane's there, Vieira has to be there just because of what they bring to each other and what they bring to the Premier League. I think Vidic. I think that's a big shot having him in there. To be honest, I don't think he.
I was actually looking at it now. Everyone on that list is pretty solid. Andy Cole maybe not so much, and also like what you just said now, Vidic as well. The rest are pretty solid, I think. But yeah, in terms of the top 6, I'm not too sure. We'll have to see.
Eric Cantona though, how is Eric Cantona not in any of your lists, Pumelani and Celo? Cantona's got to be there. What do you mean? What did he do?
He wasn't around
compared to the other guys. I mean, yeah, he was not like he's like putting best there
guys,
as well. I mean,
he transformed. You got to remember the time he came in. And this is a Liverpool fan saying this for a United player. The time at which he came in, he was a foreigner. At that time, they didn't have many foreigners, and he completely elevated that squad. I don't know what you guys think. He gave them flair. He gave them confidence. He gave the likes of. He created the platform for Beckham and the others to go do their things. That's what he did.
He was actually at Leeds the season before.
I can agree with you on that one. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and he was at Leeds.
Yes, I'm squinting to some of these players here. For me, definitely. Matt Letitia. Like I used to, watching the Premier League when I was young. I never seen this guy play, Letitia. And then what I did, I was like, who the hell? This guy's always commenting and saying things. And I think he was always tuning Arsenal, to be honest with you. I think that's why I went to go look at him. And I was like, what the heck? Who is this guy? So I went to go look and I said, okay, let's check who this Matt Letitia guy is. and I couldn't believe my eyes. Yes, that guy was brilliant. The things that he was doing to people, the way he played, absolute flair. I didn't expect him to have any flair, to be honest with you, just looking at the guy. But
he was another player admitted from the England squad because there was too much flair. I don't know. In England, they do weird, strange things. I've got a question for you guys. They've got Peter Schmeichel here as the only goalkeeper in this list. Does Peter Cech not warrant a call up here for what he did with Chelsea?
Maybe.
Vince Lehmann?
Yeah.
No. You're playing games. You're playing games, man.
Lehmann's a big shout.
Steven. No, you think he's Steven?
Not Lehmann. Yeah, David Seaman. Yes, David Seaman.
Yeah.
Bunch of fingers.
Okay,
man,
yeah,
all I think about is when he got that when Ronaldinho gave him that raindrop in the World Cup.
Yeah.
That's all I think.
Premier League Hall of Fame. Premier League Hall of Fame. Not World Cup Hall of Fame. Premier League.
I think Peter Cech has a better shot. Yeah.
I can't believe Carragher and Neville are not on this list, by the way. Or did I miss them?
No, they can't. They're cult heroes, but not Premier League Hall of Fame. Like there's a certain level. Look, John Terry, you could argue, is somewhat in that category in terms of type of player because he doesn't have the same sort of skill set. But the difference being he was captain and he won things with Chelsea. Yeah. That's how you can dissect that.
Yeah,
I think in another club, maybe Jamie Carragher, if Steven Gerrard isn't there, Jamie Carragher is captain, and then the conversation is different. So I suppose from that perspective, Aaron, you've made a fair point.
Who's your six, Claudio?
I don't know. Let's see. Scholes. Let's see what Celo says is added. Scholes, Keane, Cantona, Adam,
5, 6.
Andy Cole, and Bergkamp. Listen, all I'm saying is Bergkamp has to be on my list. Bergkamp has to be there. I think Gerrard has to be there just because when I'm thinking of time and growing up, obviously he was the one player I looked at. So that without a doubt, he has to be there.
Robbie Fowler.
Robbie Fowler, I met Robbie Fowler a couple of times actually. I offended him once.
Now you're offending him again. You're offending him again. What a guy.
No, Robbie Fowler's quality. I've got to represent because the other guys haven't mentioned many Liverpool. In fact, Celo, no Liverpool players. Pumalani, no Liverpool players, guys. I'm going to overcompensate.
It's an Arsenal Hall. That's what they must call it. Arsenal's Hall. Like, I don't know why I was denying you. Arsenal's Hall. That's it. Hall of Fame one. Look at those players. Tony Adams, Bergkamp, Campbell. We're flooding that list there.
Would you guys take Vidic ahead of, because Celo's saying a top 3 greatest centre backs in Premier League history. Would you guys take Vidic ahead of Carragher? Just in terms of what Carragher's done, like he didn't only play centre back, but he didn't only play centre back. He also played right back. So and you consider how he went through, he's with Liverpool for such a long period of time. I suppose Vidic probably won more, and also
Vidic
Ferdinand was nothing without Vidic.
True.
It depends. It depends what you're looking at. So I think Carragher, longevity-wise, he was stronger and things like that. But Vidic was definitely a better centre back, I think. But Carragher is
charging, bro.
Wonga's having issues there. Celo's making a phone call, guys. Hold on. We're going to put him on speaker. He's trying to get involved here. Yes, Celo.
Shut up, crazy, Claudio. You're crazy. How can you ask if Vidic is better than Carragher? Vidic needs to be compared with John Terry and Tony Adams.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm just going to switch him off right there. I've had enough of that. Listen, if you wanted to be on the show, you should have been here, Celo. Okay, you don't get to add your 2 cents now. You're on the comments. You stay in the comments. I gave you too much access there. But I think there's a fair point. I think it's a fair point. I just, I've got a soft spot for Carragher. So I've got my Liverpool goggles on, guys. I'm not going to dispute that. I do have them on. But Celo has made a valid point in terms of these players that are being mentioned. A lot of them won the Premier League. When we're looking at the likes of Fowler and Carragher and Owen and all these other guys, or the Liverpool players in particular, they didn't win Premier League. I suppose we lost Wonga. Wonga's gone. It's just me and you, Darren. I suppose we can wrap it up. Sorry. You can give me your 6 players and then we're good to go here.
Yeah, so I think if you just go to the top again quickly. So Bergkamp, yes, definitely.
Yep.
Then I would say Gerrard, Fowler.
Yep. 2 Liverpool, man. Darren, you're coming back to the show. I can see it. Well done, man.
Lampard.
Yeah.
And Scholes. I think that's 6. Is it 5 or 6?
Yeah, I think it was 6.
Only if it's only 5, then Vieira as well. But yeah, I think Scholes was also around for longer. I'm basing a lot of it on longevity as well, not just what a good player they were. Because Scholes was at United for a very long time. Vieira was there, but he wasn't there for as long as Scholes and other players like that.
Yeah, no, I think I suppose that the next time we have this conversation, it's putting that sort of criteria in there. And I like that criteria. When you're looking at his Scholes and you're saying he was at Man United from 1993 to 2013, that's a long period of time. And he was on top of his game for that. There wasn't a blip, they kept it going for such a long time. So that is a fair point. I think in the end, I'm going to just have to, Bergkamp just has to be there. Largely because I had the DVDs of Bergkamp's finishing. And he was phenomenal. So Bergkamp's got to be in this list of mine. Obviously, Gerrard's got to be there. So that's 2. Matt Le Tissier has got to be there. That's 3 for me. Roy Keane, he misses out for me, even though I like him. I do like his character. I like him more now that he's a pundit than I liked him playing for United. I didn't like any of these guys in the United jersey. Hey, Wonga, I'm just finishing up my list here. I've got 3. Then I've got to say... No, I can't. I'll never give it to Michael Owen because of what he did. So he's not. Even though I want, there's an inner boy of me, nostalgia going. I looked up to this guy, but screw him. He's done. Ashley Cole. I'm gonna give Ashley Cole a shot for number 4.
I was going to, and then I pulled out.
Yep, and then I'm gonna give Drogba a shot too. I think Drogba deserves it because he also helped transform that Chelsea side. And then last but not least, Vieira. That's who I'm going with. Wonga,
solid.
Okay, so
your final list.
Definitely Vieira. That second one not looking good. Hold it there. Matt Le Tissier has to be there. Didier Drogba, definitely there. Go up to the top there, Claudio. Dennis Bergkamp, definitely there.
Yeah.
My man Tony Adams, in Arsenal, of flipping missing is a gem like that. Never had him. Everyone now is just the softie. I don't mind people like that in the team, but you need a captain in the team, goodness sakes. Steven Gerrard as well. The stuff he's done for Liverpool. I know it's a Premier League Hall of Fame, and I know I was like, Premier League, but geez, the stuff that guy's done and helped Liverpool with, that's incredible. How many guys did I have on in there?
I don't know. That was a good list. It was a good list.
Matt Le Tissier. If I missed one,
right, guys, we're gonna open this up to everyone else. If you guys want to submit your list, what we're gonna do is we're gonna put a post out for adding your 6 players to the Premier League Hall of Fame, and we're gonna post it on our channels. So if you feel free to email us your list, and we will create an Instagram post saying who your 6 players are, as well as giving you a shout out. So don't hesitate to do that. Apart from that, gents, we're going to wrap up the show. I just want to say thank you to everyone who did join us today, from Pumalani to Selo, who couldn't make the actual show, but it was live in the comments, so thank you very much. And I think there were a couple of other guys. Obviously, Wonga's having some interesting technical difficulties there. And just don't forget to share, don't forget to subscribe, and obviously we'll see you again on we'll see you on Thursday. Final thoughts, Darren and Wonga.
Thanks for having me again. I enjoyed it. And final thoughts. Yeah, some good results. Obviously, stoked about the Leeds results. Would have been better for a win, but can't complain about a draw. Look forward to the next 5 games of the season, and also look forward to seeing what these Hall of Fame, what the polls come out to see who thinks is in that top 6. So we'll have to wait and see.
Awesome. Monga Dega?
Yeah. I'm looking forward to people seeing. I'm looking forward to seeing how many Arsenal players make this.
Yeah, I think I'm going to call it there. Wonga Denga having some trouble. Gentlemen, thanks again for the night. We'll see you on Thursday for pre-match Muti. Have a fantastic evening. Cheers. Bye.